Hi, this is your host Swapnil Bhartia and welcome to Let's Talk. My next guest is Embla Flatlandsmo, an intern at Nordic Semiconductor. And she has a special kind of, this is a special interview because she is 1000th contributor to the Zephyr Project. So first of all, Embla, welcome to the show and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Tell me a bit about your background, how and when you came to know about your open source, when and why you decided to become not only a developer, but also an open source developer. What attracted you towards open source?
Really, my first encounter with open source is the Zephyr Project. And I got to know it last year when I started working at Nordic Semiconductor. Before that, I've been using libraries like open source libraries and the likes, but I've never really considered contributing. And so when I had the first thought that I would contribute is when in my job, I found a problem that caused a big headache for me. And I figured I could fix it so that it would not cause headaches for other people down the road as well. So really, I'm quite new to the whole open source thing, but I'm really glad to be dipping my feet into it.
And how has been your experience so far? Because what is beauty with open source is compared to proprietary software is you create the product, you sell it to market, and you never actually sales team after customers care, they interact with clients, but you don't. But if the open source, what happens is you send a patch and suddenly the feedback start coming in from people who are using it. So how was the experience when you started contributing to open source?
It's so nice how transparent everything is. And I gotta admit, I was pretty intimidated when I was doing my first pull request, and I was thinking like, oh, is this okay? Is it good enough to be in the code base? And luckily, I got a lot of comments on my pull requests, and people were very kind in like helping me out and giving me guidance, and so that we could get it right and get it to fit with the format and everything. So I feel like it's very much they very much want to invite you in, the people that are already maintaining the code base, which I think is really nice. That even people like me, I'm just a student and I don't really have that much programming experience, but they're really excited to get me on board.
Right. This is a misconception we often hear about, hey, open source communities cannot be very friendly to users. That is not the fact. It is. In most cases, first of all, not all open source communities are same. There is no open source community. There are open source communities by different projects. And most of the communities are very, very welcoming. And as you also said, can you share some anecdote that you have where you felt encouraged to contribute even more or get involved deeply when you send your pull request and the kind of interaction you had with the community?
Yeah, so one situation that I was actually sort of involved in very recently is there was some issue that I found on GitHub, and the issue or like the comment had, or the thread had seemed to sort of die out, and there were no more comments being made. However, the issue addressed something that I would like to have changed. So I made a comment and I asked, is there any update on this? Have we gotten anywhere on this problem? And then the person maintaining that code said, no, we haven't, because the person who requested this feature has not responded, but I'm wondering, what is your use case? So in that sense, this person sort of encouraged me to contribute with my needs and what I wanted to see for the project. And so just we're very inquisitive and asking around like, hey, what do you think is necessary and why do we want this feature? What are some potential issues that we can see with this? So really just asking a lot of questions and he invited me to make a pull request on this as well, which I haven't done yet. I've been busy doing other things, but I will look into it in the future if time allows.
You have been involved with the project. So what happens is when you get involved with the project, you start with a beginner, as you said, and slowly you mature. And then there comes a point when you become a mentor and you help other folks as well. So if I look at your own journey, where do you think you are? And how do you feel that, having this special place further helped you in helping the community?
I'm definitely still very fresh to it. It still feels pretty intimidating, but just the thought of hey, I'm actually able to help and contribute with these things is very nice. And I feel way more confident in my own skill as well, that my code can get accepted into the code base. I've also been starting to look at other open source projects that, I'm reading the source code and I'm thinking, how can I contribute with this even outside of Zephyr, which I think is really cool to feel like I want to contribute more.
You have been in a phase where you started early and you interacted with mentors or people who are already experienced. So let's just look at things from your perspective. You said the community was very welcoming. I don't want to hear your perspective, but I want to hear your perspective from mentors' view, that what are the things that you think mentors or the people who are maintaining their project should follow so that it encourages new people. I mean, you already gave some examples in the beginning that people encourage, but if I ask you, hey, these are things that mentors should do to encourage more people get involved with the project, what would that be?
I think one of the things that they could do is, of course, like I said, encourage people to, or encourage their students, I guess, to write blog posts and be more transparent on these things. Like maybe if I found out something, other people would really get some value from reading how I solve my problems, because they might be sitting on exactly the same problem. Um, I think definitely blog posts are a very sort of informal way to get into that sort of mentality. Other than that, I think also really what I got was that they told me if there is a problem in the code base and you would want to fix it, then please do. Like they were very okay with me spending a couple of days just figuring this out and really letting me get to know how to do these things as well. So really just saying that, hey, this is actually why we employ students, for example, like me. I develop on Nordic development kits, and they say, oh, one of the reasons that we do this is actually to see or find these flaws so that we can help develop this project further.
Right. And now let's hear from you, from your perspective. What are the things that you think interns or the mentees or new folks should do so that they also become very good contributors to a project?
So one thing that I've been thinking about is just asking yourself, does it need to be this way? Is there any way that it can be better? Because I have found that a lot of the time, the reason that maybe a feature is missing or something, it's not really intentional. It's just that nobody has really thought of it yet. So just being curious and asking yourself, why is it like this, is a really good place to start. And then, of course, if you try and ask around and you figure out, oh, nobody really knows why it's like this, then you can probably ask, well, can I change this somehow so that it's more intentional, perhaps, the way things have been implemented.
Embla, thank you so much for talking about your contribution to the Zephyr project, your own very kind of fresh journey to open source. So thanks for your contribution, and hopefully we'll see each other again. Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully. Pleasure is all mine. Thank you.